just wondering if any of you guys have been feeling this same way. For the past few months, my head has been spinning with all of the information reaching us about this planet Earth and what it really is. I mean, people debating everything from the Earth being flat to it being a prison planet. And, some say that this Earth is both heaven and hell, depending upon your perception. Or is it a soul trap where unsuspecting ETs believe they are coming to help and then can't escape? Is it a school where we come to learn? Is it a holographic realm or a dream? Is it a playground for ETs to come and have adventures that they can't have in their realm? Or is it just a test that humans have to pass before they can ascend? And who controls it? And are they godlike, benevolent beings, or are they self-serving monsters sucking our vital energy from us? Well, in this video, I'm not here in response or defense of any of these possibilities, but I do hope to share with you one intriguing element within these potentials that I find absolutely fascinating. So, by now, most of us have at least heard the concept that we are living in a simulated reality or an illusion, a dream reality, or that this entire world is just a computerized game that star beings come here to play out our fantasies in order to learn and grow. And if you haven't come across any of these concepts, then you're in the right place. And really, as with any or all of these notions, does it really matter to our journey here? Whether reality is as tangible as we believed. In any scenario, truly, the only real thing is our experience. And it doesn't necessarily matter in what realm or reality that experience comes from. It's what we get out of it. So, speaking of this world as unreal, maybe some of you parents have come across this same sort of thing with your kids. When my son was only about 3 years old, he came up to me and with a sweeping gesture of his little arm, he said, "This isn't real." I asked him what he meant, and he just repeated, "None of this is real." Well, he went on in that innocent, open, kid way to state that none of life in this world is real. Oddly, he didn't really seem upset about that fact. I guess he just wanted me to know. So, is this unreal, an illusion? I remember a few years ago, I was astonished to hear an astronomer saying that with these strongest telescopes, the further they reach out into space, the more pixelated the universe appears to be. Well, so that's rather mind-bending, and if I'm not mistaken, seems to at least hint at the possibility that this is some kind of a simulated universe. Well, with this idea in mind, I want to take a few minutes to present one component of this unreal simulated world that, as I said, I think is particularly fascinating. This is the idea that there are those on the planet who are not real people. Several years ago, Dolores Cannon, wrote a series of books called Convoluted Universe. I think it was book 4. She wrote about what she called backdrop people, saying that these are people in our reality who you might see on a busy street or shopping in a store, in a restaurant, or those people who fill up the airports and stadiums. She wrote about these people as energy beings who have no purpose other than to play their parts as extras in our life movie. She says that we come here to experience certain events in our lives, and these false matrix people are here to trigger our emotions, and by their mere presence, we learn more about who we are. She's one of those who refers to the earth as a school, where we come to learn our lessons, and these energy beings are here as part of the assignment we agreed to take on. And a few years ago, it was only Dolores Cannon who talked about this subject, but now there are so many others, including myself, who have received this information, although sometimes they have different names, like backfill people, unreal people, false matrix beings, or more recently referred to as non-player characters, or NPCs. When I first received this information, I called them wallpaper people. Hey, I don't know why. Anyway, each of these other sources also support and validate the existence of these lower energy beings. One source describes them as usually seeming to be very self-centered, arrogant, angry at the world, and that their presence here is meant to provoke us into reacting. As if it wasn't hard enough here already. These extras or background people are here to rattle us. And they can appear as animals or children too. They're usually the complainers, the victims, those who fill up the scene around you. You might see throngs of them on TV, like in war zones or catastrophes, those bloodied bodies that fill up the media, all meant to create fear or low frequency reactions. The abused child, the limping dog that just got run over, the drugged out homeless guy accosting bypassers, or the irate person throwing garbage out of his car as he zips by, flipping you off. Or maybe just the one holding a sign on the street corner asking for money, or protesting the latest war. And I'm not saying that these people are all unreal matrix beings. It's just a few examples. Like those who are only out for themselves and never consider the feelings or needs of another. They're here to distract us and see how we react to them and the situation. Do they provoke anger in us, sadness, depression? One guy discusses the idea that currently there are so many lower souls on the astral realms who desperately want to be on Earth and are willing to temporarily take on this role as an extra. He says that these beings are attracted to the sensory world and become addicted to Earth, or, food or well, status or wealth. What about that pompous politician who's all rhetoric and no substance? This author says that because of the present state of the splintering of timelines, these unreal people now make up at least 50% of the population. Some say even more. He says that they are presently, in some cases, here to fill in for those who are ascending, walking into the bodies of those starseeds who have decided to leave and go home. And as this ascension continues, the number of these false humans will increase over time to maintain a critical mass of humans, sustaining the lower frequency of the planet. So this gives the impression that the theory of overpopulation is a fact. But overpopulated by who? Another source of information that seems to most agree with my own says that these false people don't have a soul, or a very limited one. And they seem to work through a single hive computerized digital mind or brain, reacting only to the matrix program. And this program is so complex that they appear to be normal humans, but they are not. These non-source players are empty matrix holograms developed to permeate and fill up the earth. And even though their bodies look and feel and sound real, they're just highly programmed AI. So they appear indistinguishable from other beings. It's like so many movies we've been watching lately that have created surrogates or clones. And the majority of information about these unreal people seem to agree that they exist to test us and evoke our emotional energy. And they're not biological, but holographic, as an energy being with no one inside, reacting only to the matrix program, yet so realistically constructed that if their bodies are hurt or wounded, they would appear to bleed and cry out. They react exactly as a human would. They're deeply embedded into the system, but are nothing but potential energy. The same as a street sign or a mailbox, with no meaning except the one we give to them. Bizarrely, you could see them walking toward you, and once they pass, they could then just disappear because there's no one paying attention to them anymore. Pretty wild. But as we've learned through the quantum world, if something is in our attention, it exists. But if we no longer have our attention on it, there's no reason for the larger reality system to generate that part of the program anymore. So they disappear, becoming energy to be used again as needed. As I've said, the more we learn about quantum physics, the easier it becomes to make sense of all these crazy esoteric concepts. So these false matrix people are a reflection of the collective consciousness of those who are real. So you could say that they are created by us, for us, and therefore a part of our own personal program. Some are our co-workers, our neighbors, and can even be family members. And some seem to have more awareness than others. And this seems to depend on the role they've been given by the system. Because they have no independent reasoning, no intelligent reaction. They just think what everyone else thinks and do what the program tells them to do. You know, I don't know about you, but haven't you at one time or another looked into the eyes of someone passing by and realized there's just no one in there? I have this friend who said she was shopping and she kept passing people who she swore were not human. She said they seemed to be like totally checked out and had what she called zombie eyes and moved like they were responding to some unseen stimulus that was driving them. Yikes. Okay, by the way, I should mention that since it's nearly impossible to tell these false people from the real ones, it's very important to treat every individual with respect and love and not try to decide who's real and who's not. We need to be careful not to judge any other being. This could be a very cruel and dangerous game. Realize that each being, whether sentient or not, has a place in this reality. Whether a plant, an animal, a rock, or a person, real or unreal. Because remember what we've discussed in other videos. What you put your attention on grows. This is also possible with false matrix individuals. For instance, if we, for whatever reason, give them more attention, we are in essence giving them a bigger role in our movie. It's like offering an extra a speaking part. The more attention we give them, the more real they are to our life path. And this may blow your mind, but a real person could even fall in love with a false person. And with this extra attention, they could eventually become real. How? Well, actually, this sort of thing happens all the time, only we do it usually unconsciously. The more attention we give, say, our plants, the more they flourish. The more we bless our food, the healthier it is for our bodies. The more loving attention we give to our spouse, the better our marriage. The more we pay attention to our children, the better they behave. Or the more we pet our cat or dog, the more love we receive back. We can actually learn a lot from this concept of unreal people by being kind to all creatures and recognizing that each character in our surroundings was placed here for our own expansion. Just as the tree outside your window thrives with the support of the sunshine and the rain, we too blossom with the loving attention of others. It's up to us to pay this forward to all other beings, real or unreal. This is how we grow. This is how we ascend. Well, thanks so much for listening. And if you do find any of this content interesting or stimulating, don't forget to subscribe for more. Thanks. Bye.